InnerWhisper channel.
The secret power of mindfulness you need to know. In a world that never stops moving, we often forget to breathe. We rush from one thing to another, always chasing something: success, comfort, approval, the next goal, the next distraction. But somewhere along the way, we lose touch with what's right in front of us, the gentle rhythm of our own breath, the sound of life unfolding in this very moment. Mindfulness is the art of returning home, not to a place, but to yourself. It's not about escaping the world. It's about being fully alive within it. It's the quiet courage to pause in the middle of the storm and say, I am here. I am awake. When you begin to live with mindfulness, you start to see how much of life you've been missing. You notice the texture of sunlight on your skin, the sound of rain on the roof, the warmth of a stranger's smile. Ordinary things become extraordinary when you actually see them. Because mindfulness isn't just about awareness, it's about intimacy with life itself. Most of us live in two places, the past and the future. The past holds our regrets, our memories, our guilt. The future carries our fears, hopes, and expectations. We bounce endlessly between the two, never landing fully in the now. And yet, the only real moment we ever have, the only place we can truly live, is here, now. To live mindfully is to reclaim your presence from time. It's like waking up from a dream where you were lost and realizing you never actually left home. Every time you return to your breath, you return to yourself. The breath is the anchor of the present. It is always here, waiting to bring you back when your mind drifts away. When we live without mindfulness, we're like leaves carried by the wind, easily tossed by every emotion, every thought, every external noise. But when we cultivate awareness, we become like the roots of a tree, steady, grounded, unshaken even when storms pass through. Mindfulness doesn't mean you stop thinking or feeling. It means you start noticing. You start to see thoughts as they arise and fade, emotions as they come and go. You realize you are not your thoughts, you are the space in which thoughts appear. You are not your emotions, you are the awareness that gently holds them. Imagine for a moment that you are sitting beside a river. The water flows endlessly, carrying leaves, branches, reflections. That river is your mind. Most people jump into the water, trying to chase or stop the current. But mindfulness invites you to sit on the bank, to simply watch the flow without drowning in it. You don't need to fix the river. You just need to see it clearly. When you start to live like this, a quiet joy begins to bloom. Not the loud joy of achievement, but the soft joy of simply being alive. You begin to understand that peace was never something you had to chase. It was always here, hidden beneath the noise of your restless mind. The modern world celebrates speed, multitasking, and productivity. But mindfulness celebrates slowness, presence, and depth. It teaches you to eat with awareness, to walk with attention, to listen with your whole heart. It reminds you that life doesn't need to be extraordinary to be meaningful. Sometimes, the most sacred moments are the simplest ones: sharing a meal, watching the sky change colors, feeling your own heartbeat. Mindfulness is not a technique. It's a way of being. It's not something you do for 10 minutes a day. It's a quality you bring into everything. When you wash the dishes, wash them fully. When you talk to someone, listen fully. When you breathe, breathe fully. Because every act done with awareness becomes a meditation. There will be days when mindfulness feels easy, when your heart is light and your mind is calm. But there will also be days when you feel scattered, anxious, or lost. Those are the days when mindfulness becomes most powerful. It's not about feeling good all the time. It's about being real all the time. To be mindful is to stop running from your experience, to meet life as it is, not as you wish it to be. When pain arises, you don't suppress it. You hold it gently, like a wounded child. When joy arises, you embrace it fully, knowing it too will pass. That's the beauty of awareness. It allows you to experience everything deeply, without clinging or resistance. The more you practice mindfulness, the more you realize how interconnected everything is. You begin to sense that every breath is shared, that the air you inhale has passed through trees, oceans, and countless living beings. You start to see that separation is an illusion. We are all threads in the same vast fabric of existence. And in that understanding, compassion naturally arises. When you are truly present, you can no longer harm others, because you see that they are not others. Their joy is your joy. Their pain is your pain. Mindfulness opens the heart, not through effort, but through awareness, because when you see clearly, you love naturally. The practice begins small: a single breath, a single step, a single moment of attention. But with time, these small moments become the foundation of a peaceful life. You realize that mindfulness isn't something you achieve. It's something you remember. You were always meant to live like this: awake, aware, alive. When you start bringing mindfulness into your everyday life, something subtle but profound begins to shift. You stop reacting to everything that happens around you. You start responding instead with awareness, with calm, with presence. A reaction comes from impulse. A response comes from understanding. The more mindful you become, the less power the outside world has over your inner peace. Imagine this. Someone criticizes you, and your first instinct is to defend, to explain, to fight back. But when you're mindful, you pause, you breathe. You feel the surge of emotion inside you, the tightness in your chest, the heat rising in your face. You watch it without judgment. You give that feeling space to exist, to breathe. And in that space, you find freedom. You realize that you don't have to be controlled by anger, or fear, or pride. You can choose peace instead. Mindfulness gives you that sacred pause, the space between stimulus and response. And in that space lies all your power. It's where growth happens, where clarity is born. Most people live as if they are being constantly pushed by invisible hands, reacting to emotions, circumstances, and thoughts. But when you practice mindfulness, you become the observer rather than the puppet. You stop being dragged by life, and instead, you start dancing with it. In our relationships, mindfulness transforms everything. It teaches us to listen, not to reply, but to understand, to speak, not to win, but to connect. When you're mindful in conversation, you hear the words beneath the words, the emotion, the longing, the fear behind someone's tone. You start to see that everyone is carrying something invisible, a quiet pain, a hidden story. And instead of judging, you begin to feel compassion. Mindfulness turns ordinary connections into sacred exchanges. When you are truly present with someone, even for a moment, they feel seen, valued, and safe. That's one of the greatest gifts you can give to another human being, your full attention. In a world where everyone is half distracted, to be fully present is an act of love. And mindfulness doesn't only change how you relate to others. It changes how you relate to yourself. Most of us treat ourselves harshly, criticizing, comparing, pushing endlessly. But mindfulness invites you to become your own friend, to look at yourself with the same tenderness you would offer a child, to forgive your own mistakes, to accept your imperfections, to honor your journey. Self-compassion grows naturally when awareness deepens. Because when you truly see yourself, your fears, your hopes, your struggles, you stop demanding perfection. You realize that you're human, and that being human means being beautifully imperfect. Mindfulness helps you stop fighting yourself and start taking care of yourself. There will always be moments of chaos, confusion, and pain. That's part of life's design. But mindfulness doesn't promise to erase the storms. It teaches you how to stand in the rain without drowning. It shows you how to breathe through discomfort, how to stay centered in the middle of uncertainty. You learn to hold pain gently, like a teacher rather than an enemy. When suffering comes, as it always does, mindfulness helps you see what lies underneath it. You begin to realize that pain often arises from resistance. We don't suffer because of what happens to us. We suffer because we want reality to be different. We want permanence in an impermanent world. We want certainty in a changing one. But the moment we stop resisting and start accepting, peace begins to flow back in. To be mindful is to accept what is not with resignation, but with wisdom. It's the quiet understanding that you can't always control the waves, but you can learn how to surf. Life is unpredictable, but the deeper your mindfulness, the steadier your heart becomes. You start meeting challenges not as threats, but as opportunities to practice awareness, patience, and compassion. Every emotion becomes a message. Anger teaches you where boundaries are needed. Sadness shows you what you care about. Fear points toward what you love. When you meet your emotions with mindfulness, They stop being enemies and become guides. You begin to trust life's intelligence, the way it uses even pain to wake you up. The mind will always wander. It will chase thoughts of yesterday and worries of tomorrow. That's its nature. The goal isn't to stop thinking, it's to stop getting lost in thinking. When you notice that your mind has drifted, simply smile and come back to your breath. That moment of noticing is the heart of mindfulness. Every time you come back, you strengthen your awareness, like building a muscle in your spirit. Sometimes you'll feel peaceful. Other times, restless. That's okay. Mindfulness isn't about chasing a certain state. It's about being honest with what's here. Even restlessness can become meditation if you meet it with attention. In time, mindfulness expands beyond formal practice. It becomes how you walk, how you eat, how you love, how you live. When you wake up, you feel your breath before reaching for your phone. When you drink coffee, you taste it fully. When you walk outside, you feel the wind on your skin. You stop living on autopilot and start living intentionally. And the result, life slows down. Not in a boring way, but in a meaningful ones. You start to experience depth instead of just motion. You realize that presence is not about doing less, it's about being more alive in whatever you do. You don't need a perfect environment to be mindful. You just need to remember that you're already here. When mindfulness deepens, gratitude naturally follows. You begin to feel grateful not only for the good days, but also for the difficult ones. Because both are part of your awakening. Every challenge becomes a mirror reflecting your strength. Every setback a chance to soften your heart. You start seeing blessings where others see burden. You notice that when you are fully present, even ordinary tasks become sacred rituals. Washing dishes becomes a meditation on patience. Waiting in line becomes a chance to breathe. Listening to someone becomes an act of love. The quality of your life isn't determined by what you do, but by how awake you are while doing it. And soon, mindfulness starts to transform your perception of time itself. You stop feeling like life is slipping away. You stop waiting for the next big thing. You begin to live as though each moment were enough because it is. The present moment is complete. It lacks nothing. And when you truly realize that, you stop searching for happiness somewhere else. Happiness, you say, isn't something you chase. It's something you uncover beneath layers of distraction, resistance, and thought. It's already here, quietly waiting in the space between two breaths. Mindfulness doesn't give you a new life. It gives you your life back. The life that was always here, but hidden beneath your rushing mind. There comes a moment in every mindful journey when awareness starts to feel like home. You begin to recognize that peace was never something you had to chase. It was always here, quietly waiting beneath the noise. The mind loves to wander, but the heart is always present. Mindfulness is the art of returning to that heart again and again, no matter how many times you forget. When you live mindfully, Life doesn't necessarily become easier, but it becomes richer. Even simple moments, folding laundry, driving, talking with a friend, begin to glow with meaning. You start noticing small miracles that were always around you. Sunlight through leaves, the sound of rain, the laughter of a stranger, your own breath reminding you that you are alive. These are not small things. They are the fabric of your life. The more you practice mindfulness, the less trapped you become by your thoughts. You start to see thoughts as clouds passing across a vast sky, sometimes bright, sometimes stormy, but never permanent. You realize that you are not the clouds. You are the sky. Thoughts, emotions, sensations, they come and go, but awareness remains. That awareness is who you truly are. This realization changes everything. You stop identifying so strongly with your stories, the regrets of the past, the worries about the future. You stop chasing approval or fearing rejection, because you see that none of it defines you. You are the consciousness that observes it all. And once you discover that, even for a moment, you begin to taste freedom. Mindfulness doesn't make you indifferent to life. On the contrary, it makes you fall in love with it deeply, sincerely, endlessly. You begin to care more, not less. You start living with gentleness, because you finally understand how fragile and precious everything is. Every breath, every connection, every sunrise is a gift that will never repeat in exactly the same way. To be mindful is to cherish the unrepeatable. When you bring mindfulness into your pain, something miraculous happens. Instead of fighting it, you hold it. Instead of avoiding it, you listen to it. Pain, when met with awareness, softens into wisdom. You realize that suffering isn't a punishment, it's a teacher. It's showing you where love still needs to enter, where you've been holding on too tightly, where you've been afraid to let go. Mindfulness turns pain into understanding, and understanding into compassion. And compassion, once awakened, expands naturally. You begin to see that everyone is just trying to be free from suffering in their own way. Some do it skillfully, others clumsily, some through kindness, others through anger. But beneath every action is the same longing, to be happy, to be safe, to be loved. When you see that truth, judgment fades, and forgiveness blooms in its place. Mindfulness opens the door to forgiveness, not as a moral duty, but as a release of your own heart. You forgive not because others always deserve it, but because you deserve peace. You stop carrying the heavy weight of resentment. You realize that every moment you cling to anger, you drink poison hoping someone else will suffer. Forgiveness is the gentle act of putting down the cup. With mindfulness, you also start noticing the beauty of stillness. In the stillness, you rediscover yourself. It's not the absence of life. It's where life speaks most clearly. You begin to sense that silence isn't empty, it's full of truth. In silence, you hear your intuition, your inner wisdom. your connection to something greater than yourself. You may call it the universe, the divine, or simply love. It doesn't matter. Mindfulness helps you remember that you belong to something vast and kind. As mindfulness deepens, you no longer separate the spiritual from the ordinary. Washing a cup becomes as sacred as a prayer. Breathing becomes an act of worship. Smiling at a stranger becomes a form of service. The spiritual life is not somewhere else, it's right here, in how you live each moment. And that is the ultimate gift of mindfulness. It brings you home to now, to this breath, to this heartbeat, to this moment, which contains everything you've ever been searching for. The past has already taught you. The future will arrive in its own time. But the present is alive. The present is where you meet life directly. Even when life feels uncertain, mindfulness gives you the courage to face it with an open heart. You begin to realize that control is an illusion. You can't stop the seasons from changing, or people from leaving, or time from passing. But you can be here for all of it. You can meet life exactly as it is, not running, not hiding, not pretending, just being. And in that being, there's incredible strength. Mindfulness is not about perfection. It's about presence. You will forget. You will drift. You will get lost in thought, and that's okay. The practice is in coming back, again and again, gently, without judgment. Every time you return, you plant another seed of awareness in your heart. And one day, those seeds will bloom into peace, so deep it cannot be shaken by the world. So wherever you are right now, take a deep breath. Feel it fill your lungs. Feel it leave. This breath is your anchor, your home, your teacher. Every inhale reminds you that life is still flowing through you. Every exhale reminds you that it's okay to let go. If you can remember one thing from all of this, let it be this. Peace isn't found in some distant place. It's found in paying attention. The smallest moment, when seen fully, becomes infinite. When you live mindfully, you don't just exist, you truly live. And if this message has reached you in a moment when you needed it most, know that it wasn't by accident. Maybe this is your reminder to slow down, to breathe, to begin again. Thank you for being here, for taking the time to nurture your heart and mind. If this message resonated with you, I invite you to join this journey, subscribe, share your thoughts, and help spread calm in a world that often forgets how to slow down. Together, we can build a space where awareness, kindness, and understanding can grow one mindful breath at a time. Take care of yourself. Stay present. And remember, this moment right here, right now is enough.